Okay, good evening. This is Debbie Davis. It is August 19th, 2024. And so a couple videos ago, I was exposing the Fair Housing Department because I had made that phone call and, from the Minneapolis, trying to contact the Minneapolis Fair Housing Department, HUD, Housing and Urban Development, it's called. And that's who you're supposed to report situations in a renting, in a renting situation. That's who you're supposed to report to if you have issues with the landlord or other renters or in discrimination, abuse, anything like that. That's their job. That's supposed to be their job. Okay, so as a targeted individual, I've had issues ever since I became a whistleblower in various different situations for years now. And anybody who's a targeted individual knows what I'm talking about. They'll actually send people, to be right across from you to spy on you. The landlords a lot of times are in on the spying of you or different things like that. So this has been a constant thing for me for years. You think, oh, just move. Well, it's not any better anywhere else when you're on this targeted list. This is a real list. You can look up targeted individual program, and there is images on there and charts of all the agencies involved. We're not making this up. We're not crazy. And, they actually put us on a blacklist, where we're targeted by, we're not helped. We don't get the help we need. We get harassed by the police. We don't get the help we need by these agencies. We don't get the help, from doctors a lot of times. We're discriminated against and don't get the emergency help we need, medical help we need. I mean, we're on it's a national database, and a lot of times there's Masons. It's mostly the Masons or the CIA involved in our harassment. Either because you're a whistleblower or you're some kind of or you're in the bloodline. In my case, it's both. So I'm extremely targeted, and they just don't like people who speak out. Also, if you just don't, go with the flow, you can just become on this list. Those type of people, they just want the sheep type people, and we just can't be that. We just can't be sheep because we're in too critical of a situation in our country. In case you haven't noticed, so. Anyway, what's going on? Well, so today I just wanted to show you this. I originally wrote to them and reached out to them in 2023 because originally they were giving me a hard time about my emotional support dog, and I'm a disabled veteran, and I'm allowed to, and I got the paperwork saying I have an emotional support dog, and they were still trying to give me a hard time, and this has happened in other situations too, and I'm allowed to have this dog, but they still try to harass you about it in different housing. So I was trying to reach out to this place, and then some of the renters here were giving me a hard time too. And then it's like I keep the dog in the room when I'm not here. I don't know what the problem is, but some people just don't like animals or whatever the case. But when I provide the information that I am a disabled veteran and that I have the letter, shut your mouth. Like, there's nothing else to talk about. If you continue to harass me about it, that's discrimination. And they continued to harass me even though I provided the evidence that was needed. And so that's why I originally reached out. I'm just like, now you're crossing the line and you're completely discriminated against me, even though I've provided everything that you should need. and there's nothing else to talk about. You can't say anything about it. I provided you the letter and the fact that I'm disabled, and so if you continue to harass me and you allow people to harass me, then you're violating my rights. And so I was reaching out to these people, and he wrote back, okay, like, I think I reached out, I sent the letter. He didn't get back to me until like 4 months later, and then it was a guy from when I originally reached. Like 4 months later or something. He finally wrote back, and it was a guy. It wasn't from Minneapolis. It was a guy from Cleveland, Ohio, that finally wrote back. And by that time, I had kind of already worked it out. But let's see. When did I? Okay. Anyway, he literally, like, it took him like 3 months to even get back to me, and then he says, please provide a legible response to the following questions. Okay. How did you learn about us? Do you currently still live at this address? Are people in the home making false claims about the dog? I said, this falls under disability. I am disabled. It's something like that. Why do you believe you are being discriminated against because of your disability? Have you requested a reasonable accommodation for the emotional support dog? That kind of thing. Let's see. So, who discriminated against you? When do these incidents occur? All these different things. So I wrote back, and it does fall under. Okay, it does. So I wrote back, and I explained that I'm still being harassed. I was still being harassed even after I provided my the VA disability paperwork and my emotional support dog animal, and that kind of thing. And then I'm still having issues with this one guy upstairs. He still harasses people, and thinks he can go in people's rooms and different things like that. I've had things stolen here, and that doesn't fall under discrimination, but we have tried reporting it to the local police. They don't do anything about it. Honestly, like, all these agencies, I don't know why they get paid. They're just the most inept thing I've ever seen. A lot of people, until you find yourself in situations, I guess, where maybe you have to use these people. A lot of times you don't have to. In the past, the only thing I ever had to deal with the police was if I was maybe in a car accident. But when you really need them, they're just they're completely like. It's laugh worthy. They're just laugh worthy, and completely not helpful. Okay, and I've had stuff stolen out of my room. Somehow they get in the room. It doesn't. They just don't do a thing. And then me and this other girl have had our mail stolen. That's a federal crime. Sheriff doesn't do a thing. But anyway, in this situation, it did fall under discrimination. You have your apparent guidelines here for Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity. As far as, if you're still harassing me, even though I provided the evidence that I am a disabled veteran, and you continue to discriminate against me with my dog and even though I provided that does fall under discrimination. And he just writes back, and he said, we can't do anything. We don't feel that it falls under discrimination or something like that. My suggestion is to contact an attorney. That was how. That's basically what he wrote back. And then let's see what his dumb response is. Okay, I am emailing you to let you know I have received your message. Okay. Um, you mentioned violations of Minnesota state laws since the HUD and office of FHEO is a federal agency. We cannot do anything about the violation of state laws. I would also recommend that you reach out to your state attorney general. Yeah, our attorney general is worthless here. Thanks anyways. Keith Ellison. He is it. He's like our whole state got basically hijacked by these people aren't doing anything. We used to have a good attorney general here. Her name was Lori Swanson, I think, and she was good actually. Okay, but yeah, so basically it's like he basically just like blew off my fair housing complaint, and he's like talking about state laws. You can see it here. Let's talk about state laws now. And let's talk about contacting the Attorney General. Oh, I'm sorry. What are you there for? Isn't this a federal? I contacted you because you're supposed to, help with this type of thing. And now you're trying to, pass the buck. Oh, pass the buck. Pass the buck. Oh, let's pass the buck to the state. Oh, let's pass the buck to the Attorney General. This is the game they're playing. Let's see if we can just pass the buck, and then hope you just give up. And there's people in very serious situations that are being, I'm sure way worse than mine, that are being totally abused or discriminated against even worse than I am. And these people are laugh worthy. And you saw the video that I did a couple videos ago. There's one office now in Illinois handling 5 different states, and then they'll probably just get an email back like I did. Oh, just refer it to your state. We're just going to refer you to your state or your attorney general. You are. Why are you here? What is your job? Why do these people get paid? They're just completely, And so, I wrote him back, and I said, let's see. And I said, these are violations of my Fourth Amendment right. These are violations of my Constitution and my Fourth Amendment right. My Fourth Amendment right is, to protect me against searches and seizures, any kind of issues in my residence. It's your Fourth Amendment right is to be able to feel safe and secure in your home, in residence, in property. Okay, and then he wrote it back, and he said, okay. Our office is an intake and assessment branch that assesses whether HUD has jurisdiction over the alleged fair housing claim. We, a neutral third party fact finder, to determine if a claim is jurisdictional or not. I ultimately will not be the person to determine the jurisdiction of your claim. The task is responsible for my supervisors. Unfortunately, I am not a lawyer and cannot offer advice to your Fourth Amendment protections. If you wish to discuss an issue with your Fourth Amendment protections, I recommend you consult a private attorney. I am based in the Cleveland office, so that is why you are seeing the Cleveland HUD office. I can take your claim over the phone or provide you with the contact information to my supervisor. Basically it's just like, and he's like not taking any accountability. Oh, it's my supervisor. It's just like, it's constantly passing the buck. Pass the buck. Let's pass the buck to the state. Oh, let's pass the buck to the supervisor. It's not me. It's going to be the supervisor. Oh, let's see. I just take the intake, and then I can't tell you what's going to happen from there. Pass the buck. Pass the buck. These people, they just need to be completely defunded and just removed from their, why is Cleveland handling Minnesota's cases? Okay. And now it's Chicago handling 5 different states. So clearly you're not going to get any kind of help with the fair housing and urban development. And so I just wanted to expose them Because I mean, if our country is broke, which we know we are, I mean, why do we bother paying these federal agencies? Why do we bother paying these corrupt police? Why do we bother paying, anybody that's not doing their job? I mean, because we clearly have, don't have the money, in this country right now. I mean, clearly our politicians and our people that have been running have clearly, sold us out. So as far as I'm concerned, they should just lose their funding. I mean, what is the point? Just give somebody the runaround, and you have this cush federal job, and you think, forget it, forget it. None of them should be paid anymore. I mean, because we're in a mess here. If we don't start cleaning it up, I mean, we're just not going to survive as a country if we don't start, seriously cleaning things up. And just, things that are not working, remove them. People that are not doing their job, remove them. People that, politicians that aren't doing their job, remove them. And any kind of agency that's not doing their job, remove them. Don't pay them. Like, why do we pay them? Why is our tax money going to these dumb agencies that aren't doing anything? To protect us. So that, we still have this wide open border. So who knows, Homeland Security, clearly doesn't need to be paid. They don't, why do they have a salary? I mean, they're completely, like, who even started Homeland Security? Like, I mean, they've never protected the homeland. I mean, why do these agencies even have $1 of our federal money or our tax money? So anyway, I just wanted to read to you, and you can see for yourself how completely inept this fair housing office is, this HUD office is, in our country. So, I mean, and it's really sad because, I'm sure that, like I said, I'm sure there's a lot more people that are in more serious situations than I am. Mine is just like things, minor things, but they just, they've come up different times, and they haven't been handled properly, and they never have been. And it's there's different things that have come up in various different situations I've been ever since I've been on this list, and it's always been extremely stressful for me because they find ways of targeting me in these different situations, and it's never handled correctly. Like, it's never handled in my favor. It's always like, I end up getting targeted, or I end up having to leave even though I've done nothing wrong. And it's like this for other targeted people. And that's your number one right constitutionally, is to be able to feel safe and secure in your own home. I mean, I've served my country. I'm a honorable veteran, and I do these videos. I do these videos just for my other citizens, other veterans, other soldiers, so you can hear for yourself what I've been going through. I mean, this all started for me by uncovering a crime at a military base. I mean, we were supposed to be protected under the Military Whistleblower Protection Act. If you're doing this to me as a veteran, how many other veterans has this happened to? I mean, and there's a huge veteran suicide. I mean, this is just disgusting. So, doing these videos for other veterans, other targeted people, we just, we can't. I'm just not tolerating it. So that's why I do these videos. I just keep exposing these people because that's one thing that seems to work, is exposing them. Because a lot of these Masons and everything, they have these secret meetings, the secret society. It's always very secret. And even sometimes their own family member doesn't really know, what they do as Masons. What they're doing in secret is they secretly have been targeting people, like myself, and told who to target, and and they act like they're these upstanding citizens as Masons, and they have these secret meetings, and they're involved in shady stuff, really dirty, demonic, shady things. So if you have some of these Masons in your family, it's not anything good that they do in these secret societies. It's nothing good. It's always bad. It's like they're secretly targeting, all involved in targeting whistleblowers, people that try to stand up and do right for their country, or are on some kind of bloodline list, because the Masons work for the Illuminati. They're a secret society that's involved in this whole agenda. And so this only that's why I do these videos, is just it seems to, if you expose them, if people don't know what's going on, they can't really do anything. So I mean, we have to at least expose and bring it to light, what's really going on here. Otherwise it can't be fixed. So that's why I do these videos. So yeah, forget this fair housing people. I mean, they're a joke. So okay, so that's what I wanted to show tonight. Okay, God bless.